Well, hello and welcome to another episode of the Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm Elka Clark, and I will be having you go through this incredible journey today on how to know if your online business is right for you. And the reason it's a journey is because I'm going to give you a tool that you can use to figure out if the business that you want to start is actually aligned and right for you. So if you're excited about that, please stick with me for the whole episode. It's going to be a great one. And let's get started. All right, so congratulations on deciding that you're going to start an online business. That's cool, right? That's probably why you're here, is now you need to know how, what would you need to know in order to start that online business and see if it's right for you. And that's the cool part about starting an online business. There's multiple different opportunities out there. And we, as a business owner or a future business owner, need to, and I say we because I've done this journey myself, I had to figure out what was right for me. And I want you to know that you can decide, you have that choice to figure out what's right for you. That's cool, right? It means that you have total control, even though maybe you're coming from an aspect of, wow, I need to get out of my day job. It really, I don't like it. I'm going to create a side hustle and make that work for me. And you're coming from a little bit of a mode of desperation, and I want a different thing, and I want a different life, and I want something better. And so you're there's a lot of emotion and fear almost in there as well, right? Because it's I want this, but what can I do instead? And what will it work? And all that stuff. And so by using this technique and this framework that I've set up for you, it's just a general framework that I use constantly to assess what type of business I should be involved in. I set this up as a result of me trying 30, 40 different businesses when I first said I'm going to quit my day job. And I realized that I couldn't just desperately go and sign up and figure out, because I didn't think about, well, how is business good for me? What do I want out of a business? What can I commit to a business? How is it going to work? Am I even going to like it? Or is it going to be worse than my day job? And I never thought those things through because I didn't feel like I had the privilege or the right to do that, right? I felt like I wasn't worthy of that kind of thought process initially, just to make sure that it was aligned with the joy and the goals that I had for my dream life. And what I want to have you hear loud and clear from this podcast is you have that right, you have that ability, you have that choice. And because of that, I'm going to help you by giving you my perceivable, passive, profitable framework. I'm going to explain to you how you can use it. It's being used for setting up our Zazzle business that we talk about all the time. But also, if you were to set up any other business, you can use this as a way to set up your business as a solid foundation and the framework initially that you can build off of to get to those 5 and 6 figures, no matter what business it is. Because you do need a foundation. You need a framework, whatever you want to call it, but it needs to be there to support you, right? And support your business so that it has infrastructure. And even if the infrastructure is all digital, it's still infrastructure. And the key here is that when we, as people moving from, let's say, a 9-to-5, or as creatives who maybe do some sort of business activity but don't own a brick and mortar that's profitable, for example, then we need that sort of business guidance in order to figure out if this business opportunity is going to work for us to get us what we want, but also then later you can use this perceivable, passive, profitable as a way to set up your business so that it does get you what you want, because you use those initial parameters, a framework to judge it, right? And so when the boxes get ticked and it goes yes, 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 then obviously when you start your business, especially if you're starting on the Zazzle platform, then you know right away that these are the things that you have to set up and deliver on in order for this digital framework, this digital business, to work on this solid foundation. And so this is the exciting part here. We're going to use this perceivable, passive, profitable framework in two different ways. Today, it's I almost said blog post. Podcast is going to talk about how to use it to assess your business that you want to get into. And then obviously if you need more help with that and want to really learn how to implement it, you can use the link in this particular set of show notes for episode 76. If you go and you look up the episode and link to the show notes in wherever you're watching this or listening to this, then you will get a link to a really cool 3-day event that we hold about once a year. And it was originally called the Creative Entrepreneur Online, but we're changing it to make it very clear that what we're talking about is perceivable, passive, profitable, and we're actually calling it the Perceivable, Passive, Profitable Online Event. And it is the core that you need, no matter where you are in your Zazzle business. You need this in order to understand how you can manage your business, and whether you're starting out and setting up the solid foundation to start with, or if you're trying to scale and you're having trouble scaling your Zazzle business or any other online business, then it's because you're missing those foundational that foundational framework. And yeah, I'm tripping over that today for some reason. Sorry about that. But yeah, the foundational framework to get you to those higher figures. And it's just a no-brainer. You've got to have that. Otherwise, you don't have a solid support system on which to work with to continue to move your business forward and make those big business decisions that are going to get you to the 6 and even 7-figure revenue mark. And that is possible on the Zazzle platform. We've had many clients in our coaching program that have done that, and they have also taken this Perceivable, Passive, Profitable workshop so that they know exactly what it is from the business perspective as to how to set something up. And so whether you're on the Zazzle platform or you're listening to this because you're on Etsy or Shopify or Amazon Merch, you're still running a business that's an online business. And so this will still apply to you, and I'm so excited to get started. All right. So as I mentioned before, Perceivable, Passive, Profitable, and the framework is using the core pieces of what each of those words mean. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go split them up between the 3, and I'm going to go dive deep. But I'm going to use the angle of selecting the right online business for you as the way I'm going to use these. But the pieces and the points are the same, so that if you are now working on your Zazzle business, you'll know what to do, right? You do need these pieces in your Zazzle business or any other online business to make this foundation work for you so that you can build and scale, and no matter whether it's Zazzle or not. Okay, but if you're brand new and you're getting the guidance you need in order to start an online business and know whether or not it works for you and it's going to be aligned, then this is definitely something that you want to look at. And also, if you are on the Zazzle platform or you have any other business that you're working on right now that you're having trouble with, you're struggling, you're not getting to where you want to be with regards to earnings or how you feel about your business when you show up for your business, is it a struggle, or are you excited every day to just work in this business and get it to grow as much as you want it to grow? Then this is also for you, right? Because what you're going to do is you're going to go and reassess your business, right? Instead of checking it out before you start, which is for the new people. If you're watching and if you're a newbie, then that's for you. But if you're already in the thick of things on the Zazzle platform or any other platform like Etsy or Redbubble, Society6, Amazon Merch, Shopify, you name it, then this is a really great opportunity for you to do this exercise and reflect and see, hey, is it truly working for me, or did I expect certain things? Especially when we get into the deep part of this, sometimes you can expect certain things from a business and realize that if you step back a little bit and ask the questions that come underneath these headings of perceivable, passive, and profitable, you'll realize that you might actually have sort of glossed over some pieces that you wanted to have work for you, but really, if you honestly have a look at it, they don't actually align with your actual business model that you want. And so therefore they're not even really suited for you. And maybe a different business is suited for you. Like maybe the Zazzle platform is suited for you. Okay, so let's start with perceivable. Perceivable, I'm going to list a few things and then I'm going to go into some details. So at each time I list something, I'm going to say something. So very right off the bat, perceivable, as you can tell, means that the business has to be something that you believe is possible. Okay, so right off the bat, it's the biggest question, the $64 million question. I don't know if anyone, that really dates me to one of these shows that I used to watch when I was a kid. But yeah, if you can't answer this one, then there's no point assessing the rest of the business. Now, maybe you'll need some more pieces and details of the business to figure out whether you truly do believe it. But ultimately, in the end, if you can't believe that this business with 1,000% of your core being, then this is not the right business for you. And it's okay if you say no. You've saved yourself a lot of heartache and headache and stress and feeling unworthy because you're not, you don't feel like you deserve it because you haven't got it to work. But really, it's not the case. It's just that didn't align with you and you didn't believe that it was possible for you. Full stop, right? And along with that, you have to also love doing it. It gives you your dream life. And I'll go into a little bit more detail in that. It provides a solid foundation on which you can grow and scale, that you believe is possible to grow and scale on. It all comes back to it's possible, believing it's possible. And it also allows you to feel like if you're going to put all this work in, then it's going to not just be a fly-by-night business, and it's going to have long-term stability. And more importantly, because stability means it'll still be there. For example, the Zazzle platform has been around since 2005, and so it's here to stay, right? It's not a fly-by-night thing, and even through COVID, it's stayed, it's pivoted, it's growing, it's exponentially expanding beyond belief because so many people are moving to the online space to shop. And so that's what I mean by that is can you see the business model that you're choosing to be a long-term stable business model? It doesn't go down in ability and opportunity, but stays at least stable, if not growing, right? And then you have to ask yourself, is there a potential for long-term income, right? And that is part of that question. They're sort of tied together with the stability. Because if you have a stable company that's just around, but it's not going to give you the possibility to either continue your income as it is or let it grow, then unfortunately that's not going to help you, right? So let's just go back to the gives you your dream life, because that is ultimately the other part of all of this, right? You have to believe it's possible. You love doing it. It's going to create you have to have a solid foundation that you can build on, which the answer to that would be if I set up this foundation, then it will work, right? And it has the potential to work. And then you have to ask yourself, is the company going to be around a long time? And are you going to be is the company going to continue to grow as and facilitate your ability to make long-term income? And if you can say yes to all that, then the last and final question is, does it give you your dream life, right? And the dream life you have to define first. And then that definition can come in the term of income, time, where do you have to work, when do you have to work, how much time do you need to work on it, and so on. And if you're once you set out what your dream life looks like, and then you can look at this business and go could I possibly make the income while I'm spending X number of hours and I love doing it, and is it so dreamy I can't wait to get started, right? But it's not just an emotional, visceral feeling. It means that logically you're going to look at it and say, there's a lot of emotions stuck with this dream life, and I don't want to lose that ability to feel excited about it because it's going to take a while. There is absolutely no way that this is especially if you're looking at Zazzle, this is not a get rich quick scheme. And so for me, I had to say, well, because I came at that the wrong way, right? When I first started, I quit my 6-figure job and I said, I'm going to just repeat that income in 1 year on the Zazzle platform. And I was so wrong. I made $90 in my first year. I didn't ask this question. I didn't do this work. And so you're going to be able to do so much better because I'm giving you the things I learned that really I should have done so that I wouldn't feel disappointed, upset, worthless, because there were so many emotions that came along with that failure that I didn't realize that it still had the potential to be a dream business and give me my dream life because of the results that I had initially. And it also didn't allow me to continue to look in the future and go if I just do these things, then I definitely have a better chance of getting there. Whereas after the $90 first year experience, I've got to call it an experience, I all of a sudden went into safe mode, and I had to, and the next year I only made $2,300, I think, something like that. And it's because I just cowered into a corner, and I slowly started telling myself stories about how this business was going to work for me, and I was going to let go and give up. Whereas then when I decided, no, I actually think this would be my dream life, it's just that I don't have the skills and the training and everything to actually make it get there, but other people are doing it and I want to do it. And so that gave me my push and my desire again to strive for that. And it wasn't so much that I couldn't perceive it. It was that initially that was the thing. I actually created a lack of perception of being able to do this. And what I had to do was bring it back around and say, but it will give me my dream life. I can make this happen because I've done the math, I've done the homework, I've assessed this company. And luckily that's what I did in my third year. And then I right away I increased my income by 10 times. And then by the fourth year I was in, it's 60K. And then by the fifth year I was over 100K in terms of earnings that were given out that year, not lifetime, that year. And so it was really, really important that I also perceived that it was going to be possible for me, right? That's why I said that you have to believe it's possible. And then I had to have that carrot out there saying, this will give me my dream life. This will give it to me. I just have to do the other things in the, the foundation pillars that we call them the 3 pillars of the perceivable, passive, profitable, to actually make it work, because conceptually it should work, right? And I believe it will work. It's just I don't have a lot of evidence right now personally that it will work, but I've got to figure this out. And so that's how I came around that. And when you are asking yourself, is this a perceivable business, then lots of P's today. Then what you need to do is move away from anything that you've had as past experiences and rather look for more social proof and more things that can support this dream happening rather than your past experience, so that you do have a better objective opinion of whether or not this business is perceivable for you. Okay? All right. So I think that handles perceivable. So let's move into passive. And the reason that we say passive is, okay, so it's an online business. So first of all, it is passive, right? Because you're not physically in need of being somewhere where you have to contact a person physically in the same space in order to make a transactional sale. And so every online business should be passive. The question is what quality of passive do you want, right? And obviously the more it's set up so that you have less and less influence on what you need to do in the passive business, the more profitable it will be, which is the third pillar, right? And so what we want to do is assess the business that we're looking into, or if you're on the Zazzle platform or any other platform and now you're reassessing whether you want to stay in this business or make it work even more, just like my little story that I said where I had to sort of reassess and make sure that I still had the commitment and belief that it was possible. And that helped me soar to greater heights and totally change the way I even earned on the platform, even though, 2 years before that I wasn't doing so well at all. So this here is where you have to look at the structure as to how you're going to be passive, right? What's your business going to entail so that it becomes more of the worker for you than you are the worker for your business? Because you don't want to be working in your business. You want to be working out, like your business is supposed to be working for you, right? Okay, so when you're looking at any business that you're working on right now, the first thing you have to ask yourself is, can I make substantial income without me working, right? Or in this case, without you working, right? And are there structures in place that work for you? Now, but what I mean by that is, like, do you have to sort of invent this and create it? Like with Shopify, you have to create everything. You can't just open up a Shopify store, stick your products in. The structures are driving traffic, funnels, creating the drop shipping connections and determining the products. And that's not passive. That's a lot of work. Whereas if you're on the Zazzle platform, for example, you click on the create your account and open your store, and then you go and click on their menu and find a bunch of products, and then you add a design and you post it for sale, and then the rest Zazzle does. Ooh, that's different, right? So that's so much better in terms of passive business activities, right? Obviously, you still have to work, but as I've mentioned in many of my podcasts, 20 hours a month is what we recommend for our clients, for our coaching clients, if they're using the Profit by Design Academy training and the 5 strategies that we've developed and really implementing those. And the top earners that we have as coaching clients, or they're like whether they're in the past or still with us, they have used the 20 hours as a way for them to really leverage their business and make sure that it stays as a passive business for them, right? You don't want to be working in your new business as much or more than you were in your old business. And it takes away from that impression that you have to work extra hours in order to create that business and get those results quicker. Why? Because that's our mentality when we come from a workforce and now switch over to entrepreneurship. We forget that the whole idea for creating an online business is to become more passive in terms of how that income is generated. And so therefore, those things have to be in place right from the beginning. The business model has to literally promote pacificity. Is that right? Passive actions, I'm going to say that, so that you can really understand that this is your new life. You don't have to work as many hours. You don't have to be burning the midnight oil or whatever, unless you're still working your day job. Then you have to either get up early or do it on the weekends or work at night as a side hustle to start with. But the potential is there for you to start working less and less hours. Jen and I, we work about 4 hours a month on our, not 4-hour work week, 4 hours a month on our Zazzle business, if that. And if we wanted to increase our earnings, then we would work more. But we like where our earnings are right now, and so we're just letting our earnings be very passive. And what we do with that 4 hours is we maintain, or we use a couple of our tricks and tips and strategies that we have in the Profit by Design Academy to revive products or to increase our portfolio in terms of inventory and things like that. And it's easily maintained at that 4 hours a month. Whereas when you first start out, we recommend 20 hours a month. So that's very passive, right? In terms of work hours. Okay, and then the idea here is not that it's just passive now. I want you to ask yourself, is it going to be passive even if you scale to your dream life goals in terms of income? And the answer is yes for the Zazzle business, but maybe your business, like if you're on Etsy and you want to scale to 6 figures, how much extra hours do you have to work to create those products and deal with customers and spend time doing shipping and standing at craft fairs and craft markets, and all of that is not passive. The most important thing is that we take away all of those labor hours that you spend, unless you want to, right? But then your ability to scale is not going to be there. You are going to run out of steam. You're going to get overwhelmed, tired, burnt out, and trying to get to that 6-figure mark, you won't get there. unless you start charging like a lot of money for the one-off products that you make, right? Like if you're selling your paintings for $100,000 each, then of course you can make like, oh, sorry, well, you can sell one painting for $100,000, make six figures, or you can sell 10 paintings for $10,000 and make six figures. But how long does it take you to make those paintings? But like that's even an anomaly that people pay $10,000 for something. If you're on Shopify or Etsy, unless you're already a very in-demand person or brand, then unfortunately you're dealing with like $3 to $5 to $10 sale profit per customer. And so therefore you have to have that volume, which if you're creating physical products, it's not a passive opportunity for you to scale to 100,000, for example. All right. And so the other things that are in the passive category that I want you to know about is, and I just touched on it because of the physical inventory you would have to do for like Etsy, for example, is you need a passive product suite. And by that, I mean not just that they're online and you don't have to do the physical materials, costs, time, labor, shipping, billing, all that stuff, but you also have to have products that are evergreen. And what we call, like this is in our program in our Profit by Design Academy, and we label things either as seasonal or evergreen. And seasonal doesn't just mean Christmas or holidays, it means it's only selling at a certain time of the year, right? Whereas evergreen products sell consistently every month, year after year. And they have the potential to sell consistently every month and year after year. And so if you can generate a product suite that does do that, then that's where you can scale, because the old products that you made 2, 3, 10 years ago, or in Jennifer and I's case, 14 years ago, they're still selling. Not all, but some. And then in the meantime, I've spent 14 years adding to my inventory, and that inventory starts to expand in terms of what sells. Even if it doesn't sell and it's like a blockbuster, it's giving me a piece, and this is giving me a piece, and this is giving me a piece, and together overall my monthly earnings is quite nice. And so and I don't have to redo any work with the work that I did with that original product, unless I want to add more designs and trending pieces to it that maybe upgrades the design and makes it more fresher and newer, but the concept and the principle is the same, so I don't have to spend nearly as much time as I did to create the original product to make a new offshoot, right? And then in the meantime, that old product is still selling. Plus now the new one's starting to sell because it's meeting the market trends, and combined it just keeps expanding and growing my income while I do very little work. So that's very, very cool for the Zazzle platform. Ask yourself if that works for you on Shopify, Etsy, or Amazon Merch, or KDP Publishing. I think in KDP Publishing it might, right? But it depends also on the demand and how long your products are listed. And so the fact that even on the Zazzle marketplace, if your product sold once, it's always in the marketplace, and as it sells more and more, it dominates the popular pages. Whereas in like let's say Amazon Merch or KDP Publishing, I'm not sure exactly what the parameters are, so you have to go and check that for yourself. But if there is a little bit of a lack of that seniority that continues to stay there for you, then maybe the Zazzle platform is better for you, because they do have notebooks that are blank inside, so you could easily do that, and we can show you how in the Profit by Design Academy. All right, so, and then I have some more stuff here, but I think we've covered them. I want to have you also have, again, that long-term future potential. And so in the terms of the Zazzle company, for example, when I first started, they had about 100 products as a product opportunities for us to print, add our designs to, so that people could print on them and buy them. Zazzle could print on them and buy them the way they looked online. And now it's over $1,500 products that you can make money off of. And so that's cool, because it means that this company has been around for a long term, but it's also continuing to give us more potential to create more passive income, right? Because now you have more products that you can put those same designs on, so you can expand your base of products that are selling passively really well. And that's huge, because when you're on Etsy or any other Amazon merch, I think it's pop sockets and t-shirts mainly. I know that there's some other stuff that they let you do, but at this point you've got 2 products. We have 15 products, 1,500 products that we can choose from every single day and make them all. There's no restriction, right? So it gives you so much more future potential for long-term income. And also that's always passive income as well. So that just ticks off all the boxes on the passive. And ask yourself the business you're in right now or thinking of doing, because maybe you're thinking, oh, I have to switch from Zazzle to Etsy or switch from Zazzle to Amazon merch, which we've had some of our coaching clients do, and they come back. Why? Because Zazzle's just such a perfect business model, and they're tired of jumping through the hoops to try and keep up with the craziness that everybody in the world and huge programmers and I can just see like people all over the world, like in big groups, posting. Like if, for example, if on Amazon, which has happened to me many times where people steal my designs and they post them on Amazon, and it's hilarious because it's actually a custom order. And it doesn't make any sense with the names and so on and how they would customize it, but they post it for sale. And I get them taken down because they're obviously in copyright violation. And then once they're down, within like almost half a day, if not less, the site's up again, a different name, same designs, and I go through the process again. But the teams that have to be behind that are enormous. So why are we fighting against that? Why don't we use the Zazzle platform, which is a lot more, what I would say, like homegrown, legitimate, more potential for growth with less competition, even though there's over 1 million users on the Zazzle platform, probably more like 2 or 3 million by now, because the last number I have is from 2015. And we've obviously been driving a lot of traffic to get people to start on the Zazzle platform. But I think that none of our students really have that much trouble. In fact, they don't even ask me anymore. They don't ask, well, how is it possible when there's so much competition to be successful on the Zazzle platform? They don't ask that anymore because they know that if they do the Profit by Design Academy and they do the training with the 5 strategies, that actually it starts to work for them. But you have to implement everything. So I can't make any income statements. But that's the key part of having something be passive, future potential for earnings, and also passive income long term, right? So the income that you're making now, you can continue to make because the products you put up there are still going to sell, but then also you have the potential to keep growing. And as Zazzle improves their site and brings more people in and adds more products that we can make into our product suite, it's just a no-brainer that it works, okay? All right, so the last piece is profitable. And what I want to say, first of all, is look at specifically what you take home, right? And give yourself a salary, or look to see what your salary is, right? Because if you are working and you're really excited because you made, like, let's say $1,000, how many hours did you work for that? And what's your hourly rate? And if your hourly rate is less than $1, like I realized at one point my hourly rate was less than $1. I think it was like 40 cents an hour or something like that. It's like, my business model is not working. I haven't set my business model up properly for me to actually be, effective at this business. So I have to either change the business or I have to find a new business. And so what I did was I changed my business practices and how I presented myself on the Zazzle platform. And now that, like, I'm making thousands of dollars an hour, which is awesome, right? That's what you want. And when we always talk about the 2 things, we always make it very clear. If you put your royalty at 10%, then that means that if you sell, like, let's say $1 million, then you have made $100,000 in earnings that Zazzle will pay you out, approximately, right? There's more details. There's referrals, there's this, there's that, there's volume bonus, but we don't need to get that detailed. We just want to say, okay, if you set your royalty at 10%, even though that seems really low, and you give 90% to Zazzle, you are giving them the money so that they can operate your business. Whereas you just you bring that money in, like, so if you sell $1 million, you get 100,000, and all you need to do is pay for your computer, your internet, your time. And so really you have a profitable business that's as profitable as 80 to 90% of your earnings, right? And so that's huge. So let's flip it. Instead of saying like, oh, we have to pay, that's not fair that we don't get more of that money. Even at the 10% level, it's an incredibly profitable business. So do the math with your business, the number of hours that you work in it, the number of dollars you get back, and any costs that you have associated with the business, and see how profitable it is, right? Is it 50%? Is it 30%? Like, hopefully not, because at least 50 would be good. And anything above 50, does it get as close to 85 to 90 as you can with the Zazzle platform? If not, then maybe Zazzle's another opportunity for you to explore. All right. And then, can you receive your dream income? And this is the thing that when people start on the Zazzle platform, especially if they go to the Zazzle forum, there's a lot of negative people that are posting and saying, well, don't expect to make any money on the Zazzle platform. If you get a payout every so often, you'll be lucky. And it's not okay to say that. And if you believe that, then that's also not okay, because you have to check out who these people are, what they've been doing. Have they actually treated it as a business? Have they implemented the things that are going to give them that money? Or are they just putting stuff up and hoping it'll sell? And even if they think that it should sell, maybe they haven't done the market research to know that they haven't targeted the customer properly. And so a lot of our training initially in the Profit by Design Academy is you have to let go of your artist ego, right? There are incredible ways to leverage your artwork and your photography and your cartoons and drawings. We have had many, many clients go through our program and know and understand how to make those work. But the unfortunate part is that a lot of artists and graphic designers and photographers don't know how to do that. And then, of course, there's this whole other opportunity. Besides leveraging your brand, you can also decide if you want to move into sort of more of a generic approach rather than you being the brand. You can be you can design on anything and put your designs on as a background rather than it being the art. And because of that, there's two different prongs of opportunities for you as artists and graphic designers and branded individuals and even authors. There's so many ways that you can generate cash on the Zazzle platform through affiliate marketing and through the royalty system. And so I would say yes to, I can make my business work by receiving my dream income, but I have to be flexible and also deliver what the market wants, or I have to drive the traffic to Zazzle and use Zazzle as my fulfillment center, whichever way you want, or do both. That will allow us, for me to get my dream income. But you have to decide if that's going to work for you based on what you decide you want to do, right? And it's your choice. And fully understand if you feel better just selling your prints, or if you're selling your originals. Let's say you're an artist. But when you look at the honest effort and time that you put into an original, and if you don't get at least a minimum wage back from that when someone purchases the painting, and you don't leverage the print because it's still your copyright, and you don't leverage that print through other products that you can put on mugs and calendars and cell phone cases and clay prints or wall art or whatever that's a print, then you as a business owner haven't made the right decisions to be profitable in your business. You're just grabbing the lowest possible income source, and it's not a business that's going to work for you long term and scalable. And so that's where we are looking at that type of opportunity here in the profitable section. And then, as I mentioned before, with the hours, you want the least number of hours and the maximum payout. So if you do the math, you'll figure that out and you'll know whether or not this is right for you. But in terms of the payout, I would ask you to not judge what your payout's going to be. Just like I mentioned with the Zazzle forum, we have people that post in there that say, I'm already at this level and I've made this much money and all that stuff. But for some reason, it's the negative people that are people listen to and hear more so than the people who are doing well. They think that the people doing well, there must be a scam, or it must be, they sold their soul or something like that. No, they've just created it as a business rather than as a hobby. And so unfortunately, that's where the change is. So if you're making an assessment asking whether this is profitable for you, look more towards the business model than your ability and your perceived ability to be able to make this business work with what you have right now as your abilities and skills. Those skills and abilities are things that you can learn and get taught. Whereas look more so at the profitability of the business model rather than your last endeavor that you did or never done, and now you're trying to make an assessment whether this will be profitable. Instead, look at how much you would have to spend, how much time is involved, and then can it be profitable because there's something left over for you. Okay? All right. Well, that brings me to the end of my perceivable, passive, profitable in terms of what criteria you need to use in order to judge whether a business is going to be aligned with you. And I really want that to be a good fit for you, because this is not like whatever business you're in, you cannot make money so quickly and sustain it, right? You can maybe get a big cash grab, then go for it. If you want to set up a Shopify store and sell cat socks, like for a gazillion cat socks over the Christmas period, then you've done it, and it's perfect. But what are you going to do in January? And what are you going to do in a year from now? You have to find the next piece, or the next best thing that you can have to redrive traffic to, re-find that product, work through drop shipping people to make it work, and all of that stuff. And what do you really take home in the end? And that's really what you need to look for in terms of a business. Whereas on the Zazzle platform, you're constantly growing your business, and every effort is just adding to the whole pot of your business as a whole, and creating more and more of that foundation, so that those workers, which I call the products are my workers, are working for me rather than me working in my business. And there's very little cost outlay. So obviously Zazzle's my thing, and hopefully it will become yours as well. So now, though, that you know this framework, you can actually use it to set up your business as well. And as I mentioned, doing those calculations, setting your goals, figuring out how you can get that inventory to work, that's the how to set up your business. And that, unfortunately, is going to be a little bit more difficult to explain in a podcast. And it's already quite a long podcast, so I apologize for that. But we have a 3-day workshop, which this episode is promoting. It's going to be happening. So if you're watching this or listening to this episode and it's already past the last week of January 2022, unfortunately, you've missed it. But maybe we'll have an opportunity to get access to the replay. But it really works best if you're there live for 3 days. And we're going to be doing it the 25th, 6th, and 7th of 2022. And the link is in the show notes. And if you want to, you can sign up for it. It is a reasonable cost for the 3 days. It is incredible knowledge. And you are going to do the work to start the beginnings of your business. Especially if you want to be in the Zazzle business. It is Zazzle focused, but if you want to listen, you can also interpret it and build it out for any other business, like your Etsy business or Shopify, for example. And so, but I highly encourage you to do this. This is not the same as the Profit by Design Academy. We do have strategy sessions and so on in the Profit by Design Academy, and just step-by-step things that you have to follow in the Profit by Design Academy. Basically do the work to set it up for you with the perceivable, passive, profitable in mind. But there are so many people who were in the Profit by Design Academy who did well, but they still needed to hear it in this other way and become more business owners and managers. And that's what they were missing to be able to scale. And so this event was created and if you have been part of this event before, it used to be called the Creative Entrepreneur Online, but now it's called the Perceivable, Passive, Profitable Online Event. And that's to really focus in on the fact that this business framework is required to be set up in your Zazzle business before you get started. And if you haven't set it up yet and you're in your business and you want to scale, also perfect timing for you to start with this framework by implementing it now. And it's really more so the full strategy and management of your business than telling you to go and, make certain products. That's not what that's all about. The key here is to look at the overall picture, see how your business is structured and set up. Do you have systems in place, training, hours, goals that are set properly, and is it possible to achieve your goals with the business strategy that you've had? And because it's a workshop, then you are going to be doing the work, and when you're done, you're going to have quite a lot of the work done to create that infrastructure, like to know what to do to create that infrastructure and know how to revisit this every 6 months to be able to start to feel comfortable managing your business. So I'm so excited for you. Click the link in the show notes and be part of this event. And as I said, if you're listening to this or watching it later, you can always message us in whatever way you want to, in terms of podcast, YouTube, Facebook group, wherever, Instagram, wherever you feel you want to connect with us, and we will let you know how you can maybe access it. Okay, so thank you so much for watching, and we will see you and listening, and we'll see you next week in the next episode. Take care.